Today we're kicking off our brand new series, the ultimate checklist for better photos. And we're starting with a very important one, composition. Why? Because composition is the foundation of everything. It's the architecture of your photo. If light is your paint, then composition is the canvas and the frame and the way you arrange everything so your viewer knows exactly where to look. And here's the good news. You can improve your composition before you even touch a setting or with whatever camera or phone you have. So that's why we're starting right here. Okay, let's get into it. Composition is how you arrange elements in the frame to guide the eye and create balance. Think of it as visual storytelling. If you've ever read a book where it's all fallen apart and the pages are in the wrong order, that's what bad composition feels like. But let's expand on this a little bit. Composition is also about relationships. How one element sits in relation to another, how big or how small it appears, how close or how far, how bright or how dark. All of these things create visual weight, which is what your brain uses to decide where to look first. It's also about flow, the path your eye takes around the frame. Great photographers think about where the viewer begins, where they move to next, and where they end up. So it's not just arrangement, it's intent. Good composition says to the viewer, look here first, then look there. It gives the image structure, flow, and purpose. Why does this matter? Well, because without strong composition, even a well-lit, sharp, beautiful image can feel flat. But with good composition, even a simple scene can feel powerful. Let's explain that a bit more. Composition is what creates emotion. Light can set mood for sure, but composition tells us how to feel. A low angle can make a person look strong. A wide, empty frame can evoke loneliness. A tight crop can feel intimate. Composition is also what creates readability, if that makes sense. If a viewer has to work hard to figure out what they're meant to be looking at, they'll simply give up. Good composition is essentially the difference between a snapshot and a photograph. It's the reason some images just work instantly. Your eye knows exactly where to go. And to quote Yusuf Karsh, look and think before opening the shutter. The heart and the mind are the true lens of the camera. Now, as you may already know, I am not a fan of calling them rules. They're more like guidelines, tools, training wheels, safety nets as such, if you like. But let's break down why they exist. These guidelines come from patterns in human perception. We're hardwired to find balance, order, and a clear focal point. The rule of thirds, leading lines, negative space, and so on, they all tap into how our brains process visual information. And here's something important to remember. The guidelines are consistent across art forms. Painting, cinema, design, they all use them because they work, but they're not commandments. Nobody's going to kick your door in because you put a horizon in the middle of the frame. But what I would suggest is that you learn them first because they give you a good baseline, a starting point, and a way to make sense of a scene. And then, when you do have a better grasp of these conventions, feel free to break them with intention and a glint in your eye. Breaking a rule without understanding is a mistake. Breaking it with understanding is style. So remember, if there's a lamp growing out of somebody's head, that's not a new creative style. You just didn't check the background. So let's have a quick overview of some of these guidelines in order that we can get a bit of a basic understanding. Imagine a rule of thirds as a tic-tac-toe or noughts and crosses grid. Placing your subject along one of these lines or intersections creates natural balance and visual interest. Why? Because our eyes like things slightly off-center. It feels more alive. And if your subject has direction, for example, somebody looking towards the right, give them space to look into. This builds tension and story. Any line in a scene, a path, a fence, a river, or a road, for example, can guide the eye towards the subject. Think of them as visual handrails. They help the viewer move through the image. And remember, the lines should actually lead somewhere. If they lead out of the frame, the viewer feels like they've missed something. This powerful technique gives your subject room to breathe. Empty space isn't empty as such. It's a powerful tool at your disposal. Negative space can create calm, tension, or drama depending on how you use it. Our eye naturally gravitates towards the area with the most detail, so negative space directs attention directly to our subject by way of contrast. Composition is a constant question. What belongs here and what doesn't? When you're composing a scene, ask yourself, is anything fighting for attention? If so, remove it if you can, or change your angle to minimize it. As a professional landscape photographer once proved to me, sometimes even shifting a few centimeters one way or the other makes a massive difference. Give it a try. And simplicity isn't always about having less. It's about having only what matters. Having less in your image is a good tool to use. It lets the subject stand out because our eye naturally latches onto it. So simplify, then simplify again. Ideally, you should apply one or more of these concepts every single time you take a photo. Composition isn't a camera setting, it's a habit you build over time. And here's the thing, good composition actually starts before you even lift the camera to your eye. So look at the scene in front of you and ask yourself, what's the story here? What's the most important thing? What supports it? What distracts from it? And once you know the answers to those questions, you're no longer snapping, you're making deliberate choices. Then slow down and compose around that main idea. I like to think of composition a bit like learning to play the guitar. At first you think about every finger, every string and every chord change. But with practice and a few blisters, it becomes intuitive. Your hands just seem to know where to go. Take a look at an accomplished singer-guitarist. They're not thinking G chord, now D. Their hands just move instinctively and with fluidity. And it's exactly the same with your photographic eye. The more you practice, obviously the better you'll get. So here's a more structured exercise for you to try. Pick a single subject. Shoot it from 5 different distances. Wide, mid, close, very close, and extremely close. Now shoot it from 5 different angles. High, low, off to the side, and so on. Now incorporate one guideline per shot. Leading lines, negative space, rule of thirds, symmetry, or maybe frame within a frame. And by the end, you'll have 20 to 30 images to review and learn from. And you'll definitely feel a difference in how you see. And this type of exercise trains your eye faster than anything. Give it a go and don't forget to let me know in the comments how you get on. I read and respond to everyone. So to wrap this up, here's a few final reminders for you. Learn the guidelines. Use them on purpose. Or break them on purpose. Keep it simple. Guide the eye. Tell a story. Composition is the quiet, unsung hero and foundation of a great photo. And once you get it, everything else starts to fall into place. As I've often said to my students, the camera records what's there, composition decides what matters. If you want more basic knowledge on exposure, focus and composition, grab the ebook in the description. It's a great companion to this series and totally free when you sign up to my newsletter. Also, if you want friendly feedback, challenges and a supportive place to share your work, come check out our Photography Foundations community over on School. And in episode 2 of this series, we're diving into something just as important, knowing your camera. Because once you understand composition, the next step is making sure your camera does exactly what you want it to do. So hit subscribe, ring the bell, and I'll see you in episode 2. Let's make photography simple, inspiring and fun. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you back here next week.